The Krexthani Dreadnought Bone Reaper materialized from hyperspace with the thunderous crack of folded reality snapping back into place. Its obsidian hull bristled with plasma cannons and mass drivers, each weapon capable of glassing a city. Block. On the bridge, War Leader Vexkarn studied the pathetic blue marble spinning lazily before him, his four eyes gleaming with predatory satisfaction. Another soft world, he rumbled, his voice a bass growl that made the deck plates vibrate. Standing nearly 3 meters tall with razor-sharp claws and teeth designed for rending flesh, Vexkarn was the apex predator of his species, a creature evolved on a world where only the strongest survived. Signal the surface, demand tribute, as is our right. The communications officer, a smaller but no less lethal Krexthani, opened a channel to the planet below. Attention, inhabitants of the Third World. You stand before the might of War Leader Vexkarn of the Bone Reapers. You will provide tribute of your finest warriors, your most precious metals, and your technological secrets, or we will take what we wish from your smoking ruins. On the surface, in a small space monitoring station outside Denver, Dr. Sarah Chen nearly choked on her morning coffee. She was a xenolinguist with the newly formed Earth Defense Communication Division, and this was humanity's first contact with an alien species. Unfortunately, it wasn't going well. They want tribute, she said into her headset, speaking to the emergency council that had assembled in NORAD. Warriors, precious metals, and our technology. What do we tell them? Came the panicked voice of General Morrison. Sarah looked at her half-empty mug, at the steam still rising from the dark liquid within. An idea began to form, one so absurd it just might work. Let me handle this, she said, and trust me. 20 minutes later, Sarah stood alone in the designated meeting zone, a field outside the city where the alien shuttle had landed. The craft was a thing of nightmares, all sharp angles and weapon ports designed to intimidate. From its belly emerged War Leader Vexkarn, and Sarah had to fight every instinct that screamed at her to run. The alien was massive, his hide scarred. From countless battles, his claws gleaming in the afternoon sun, he approached with the confident swagger of a creature that had never met its match, never encountered anything it couldn't kill or conquer. I am War Leader Vexkarn, he announced, his voice carrying easily across the field. You stand before the apex of the Krexthani, the slayer of the Zendar fleet, the— Nice to meet you, Sarah interrupted, stepping forward with a thermos in one hand and a spare cup in the other. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, and I brought tribute. Vexkarn's four eyes narrowed. This tiny, soft creature dared interrupt his litany of victories. Tribute? You bring me nothing. I see no warriors bound for my arena, no chests of rare metals, no data. Cores filled with your secrets. Sarah smiled and unscrewed the thermos. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, and she noticed something remarkable. The alien's nostril slits flared, and his aggressive posture shifted, almost imperceptibly. This, she said, pouring the dark liquid into the spare cup, is coffee. It's made from beans grown in the mountains of Colombia, roasted to perfection in small batches, and brewed using water filtered through ancient volcanic rock. She held out the cup. It's the finest tribute our world has to offer. Vexkarn stared at the offering, confusion replacing aggression. In all his centuries of conquest, no species had ever offered him something so mundane. Warriors trembled before him. Empires surrendered their greatest treasures, but this human offered him a cup of dark liquid as if they were old friends, meeting for a casual chat. What trickery is this? He demanded, though his voice lacked its earlier menace. No trickery, Sarah replied. Just hospitality. On Earth, when someone visits us, even unexpectedly, we offer them something warm to drink. It's how we welcome people. Against every warrior instinct he possessed, Vexkarn found himself taking the cup. The ceramic was warm against his claws, and the aroma was unlike anything in his experience, complex, rich with hints of chocolate and earth. He brought it to his lips and took a tentative sip. The effect was immediate and profound. The bittersweet, Liquid hit his tongue with a complexity that spoke of careful cultivation, patient processing, and genuine craft. But more than that, something deeper stirred within him, a memory of his childhood on Krexthan, of sitting by the fire with his clutch mother, sharing warm fermented nectar after a successful hunt. It was a memory of belonging, of peace, of something beyond conquest and domination. This is, he began, then stopped. War leaders of the Krexthani did not admit uncertainty, did not show weakness. But the warm cup in his hands and the patient smile on the human's face made him want to try. This is pleasant. Sarah nodded and poured herself a cup from the thermos. Coffee's like that. It brings people together, makes everything seem a little less hostile, a little more manageable. She took a sip and gestured to a nearby boulder. Want to sit down? Tell me about your travels? For the first time in 3 decades of conquest, war leader Vexkarn found himself sitting down not to plan an assault, but to share a warm drink with someone who saw him not as a fearsome predator, but simply as a being worthy of basic kindness. 3 hours later, after they had talked about everything from interstellar navigation to the proper brewing temperature for different coffee varieties, Vexkarn stood to leave. The Bone Reaper's crew waited nervously, uncertain why their leader had spent so long with a single human. Dr. Chen, Vexkarn said, his voice thoughtful, your species offers tribute unlike any I have encountered. Sarah smiled. Will you be wanting the warriors and medals then? Vexkarn looked at the empty cup in his hands, then at the small human who had treated a galactic predator like a neighbor stopping by for a chat. No, he said quietly, but I would appreciate if I might return sometime for more of this. Coffee. Anytime, Sarah replied. I'll leave a pot on. As the dreadnought disappeared into hyperspace, Sarah couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the most powerful weapon wasn't a gun or a bomb or a fleet of warships. Sometimes it was simply the radical act of treating someone with unexpected kindness. And sometimes that was enough to change everything.